Illegal small-scale mining, known as galamsey, has left many major water sources polluted, farmlands destroyed, forest reserves depleted, whilst wildlife habitats struggle for sustenance. This menace has left Ghana's ecological landscape on its feet, at the mercy of reclamation.
We are not even having tailings dams that will contain the residue from mining. And so by poisoning the water sources, we are poisoning the entire farming area and where we live. Wherever these rivers and streams go, we are spreading contaminants across.
Land reclamation has become the major pathway to covering mined pits, replanting trees, and rehabilitating degraded farmlands to save community ecosystems. Despite these efforts and intended investment, the effect of illegal mining cannot be entirely extinguished and subsided. When the pits are covered and trees are planted, what happens to the toxic substances such as mercury and cyanide trapped in the soil?
So this cassava plantation looks like a thriving farmland, but what we cannot see are the dangers beneath the soils these cassava trees are standing in. In many areas where farming has already begun on lands that have been reclaimed from illegal mining, a looming danger stares at farmers, consumers, and products of cassava.
With a yield of an estimated 22 million metric tons in 2019, cassava is undoubtedly one of Ghana's most important root crops. Two communities in the eastern region, Paming and Jadem, have a long history of illegal small-scale mining and also are notable growers of food crops, including cassava. Reclamation efforts reached the enclaves, healing the soil on the surface for farmers to plant again. However, chemicals used for mining remained for years, if not decades, in the soils, diffusing into cassavas grown within these areas, as revealed by research. The results of this research struck an unsettling chord.
The general consumers must be made aware to know that it is important to know where you are sourcing your cassava from. After our cassava,
using standard laboratory methods, the team compared cassava from reclaimed mining sites and non-mining fields, testing for moisture, fat, protein, heavy metals, and cyanide. Their findings reveal that just as nutrients, including fat and protein levels, were high, so were the toxins. Levels of heavy metals, including lead, exceeded safe limits in cassava grown on reclaimed mine lands. The effect of these metals in the human body are fatal.
They are very toxic. Mostly they are dense such that they become difficult to be removed or washed away by water. So if somebody consumes it, that means they have the tendency to undergo oxidation, breaking apart to produce free radicals. These free radicals can cause cancer. They interact with human body. Some can even result in neuropathy diseases or neurodysfunctioning. Sometimes in the case of infants, you can talk about constipation, anemia, fatigue, and all these are symptoms that occur. And sometimes in the case of children, they can even have some mental issues and some diseases like the dysfunctioning of the respiratory system.
At Paming, a middle-aged farmer, Samuel Kwabena Owusu, has been on his farm for 18 years, watching it reproduce abundant yield until galamsey emerged in the community.
But I started from the name problem, but they do baby no.
At first, I didn't experience this. Now, I sometimes stop planting until after 5 months because if we rush, we may suffer from the chemicals they use. Before the galamsey, we produce the nuts of cassava. We used to harvest in big quantities, but now our harvests are small and we are witnessing the side effects in quality and quantity of the cassava we produce.
Sometimes
Owusu's plight ties with the research findings, exposing the deep-rooted character of illegal mining, not only in farms and on farmers. Farm produce gets to market across the region, Cassava in Ghana is consumed in different ways and forms. Whilst it could be boiled and pounded into fufu, or grated into powder for kokonte, or fried into gari, consumers may not be escaping the ripple effect of contaminated cassavas. Raw agricultural produce like cassava do not routinely go under test by Food and Drugs Authority. So, at food joints and homes, regular customers consume food crops without suspecting.
We don't know where they bring the raw crops. We only care about the food, and now we are frightened to get disease.
Which is going to affect me economically because I do budget that this is what I'm going to buy. Maybe if I'm going to buy my gari may not be as expensive as other foods that may be. So it's going to affect me, but I just have to stop eating such food for my own health.
We can stop eating it entirely. Maybe I will reduce my intake because almost every delicacy in Ghana has a touch of cassava, and this devastating news is frightening.
But in all this, will the land ever be free from these toxins? And will the food be rid of the chemicals ever? Dr. Yao Achreko implies that the longer the reclamation period, the safer the land, but calls for a ban on farming in these areas within such periods. Dr. Yao Achreko recommends that other variants of cassava can be cultivated to produce double yields to make up for the losses.
As part of even our recommendation, we recommended that future studies should look at how best these lands can be put to use after their reclamation. But based on their findings from their study, we realized that the longer the reclamation period, the lower the levels of cyanide and that of lead, which implies that how long the reclamation period is becomes very good for cultivation of crops. It's important we also look at it from the safety and the quality side, not just making the foods available. Talking about availability, there are other cassava crops, there are varieties that could equally be cultivated that can give higher yields even per acre or per hectare, which will also help to secure the food security that Ghana is trying to achieve.
The study forces Ghana and the agricultural sector to confront a difficult question of what alternatives are available for the country.
At least, and our food safety or something authority. Yes. So at least for them, if there are ways that they could put in place to ensure that the food we eat are safe from these metals, I think it's going to help most of us.
Meanwhile, environmental advocate Erastus Asaridonko has warned that the detrimental effects are not far from home. He challenges authorities to take decisive actions.
That we are playing with fire when it comes to contaminating our food chain. It is happening and it is real. I have seen some government ministers trying to downplay or belittle this practice. But this is a very dangerous practice we are joking with, we are toying with. If we do not end cyanide leaching by small-scale illegal miners across the country, we are in for a very dangerous precedent.
Whether Ghana chooses stricter monitoring, improved reclamation, or crop diversification, one thing is clear. This is a critical national issue for reflection.